Alright, welcome to my Arch-Glacor GrandMaster Speedkiller video. I'm hesitant to call this a guide just given the nature of Arch-Glacor's mechanics. It's very unlikely that you'll get the same order of special attacks that I get in this kill, and since you can't really know what specs you're getting next, you really can't have a set in stone rotation to get this sub 530 kill. That said, I feel like I still have some good tips to share that might help in getting the GrandMaster speed kill. So let's put the word guide in air quotes and recognize that this will require some improvisation based on your special mechanic order. Let's get into it. Just very briefly looking at my preset in Relics, I'm using pretty standard Necromancy Relics, Conservation of Energy, Fury of the Small, and Death Ward. Death Ward does come in pretty handy at this high end rage. On to the preset. I'm going to do this kill with Necromancy, and I will occasionally make use of Zero Tick Soulfire and main hand Hydrix Gricko. I have a lot of spiritual prayer potions with me so that I can spam Ripper Demon attacks as much as possible. I'll be using Spiritweed Incense Sticks so that I can get more value for each sip of Spiritual Prayer, and I'll also be using Quorum Incense Sticks that increase your weapon poison damage. I'll be using the Full Book and the Equilibrium Aura. I did 2 hours with Majorat and Jasbook, and I got awfully close a couple of times with several 530.6 kills, but not long after switching to Full and Equilibrium Aura, I got my Grandmaster kill. The last bit of info I'll offer on the preset is for those having a hard time surviving with just the first Necromancer gear and the Darkness Incantation active. This is 3000% enrage after all, and the attacks really do hurt. Some players like to bring 3 pieces of Crypt Bloom and a tank Necromancy top to equip during the Flurry special attack. You'll benefit from the Crypt Bloom passive effect and the Darkness effect without suffering any big accuracy penalties. I've never tried this though personally, although it looks very strong. Let's go ahead and look at the kill now. I'm going to start by getting 5 soul stacks, 12 necrosis, and an empowered auto. I also like the Disruption Shield and Vengeance while I'm building stacks so that they're active when I first start the fight, and they'll come off of cooldown to use again quite early in the fight. This is basically the only set in stone part of the fight, is the very start. I'll summon my conjures outside of the instance, then I'll start the instance. Life Transfer, Command Ghost, Invoke Death, Command Skeleton, Split Soul. This lines up with the target cycle timing, at which point I'll do Bloat, Death Skulls, 5 stack Volley. I'll do 2 fingers back to back, then a tier 90 spec, and I'll finish off this opening rotation with that empowered auto. The only exception to this is if I got minions first, in which case I'll use Invoke Death, Threads of Fate, and then volley them. Other than that, this rotation will work just fine with any of the other 4 special attacks. If I got Flurry as my first spec, I would try and use Divert after this opening rotation and go into a Living Death ASAP. In my kill, I got Beams first, but now that the opening rotation is done, we're really into the deep end, and it's time to just improvise to the best of our ability. So since there's no set in stone rotation anymore, there were just a few helpful principles that I was trying to remind myself of during this kill. So let's go over those now and why I think they're helpful. Number 1, you'll want to upkeep Bloat as much as possible. Basically, you want to use it every 20 seconds. It's a great sustain damage, and every hit can trigger a poison hit, which is just going to provide you even more damage. It's particularly good right before the Beam special attack, where you're not going to be able to attack Glacor for a little while. Number 2, tier 95 weapon spec is going to be your best friend. Outside of the Flurry mechanic, there's really no good time to use Living Death. So using tier 95 as much as possible and improvising with Necrosis is going to be your best bet. Number 3, Zero Tick Soulfire as much as possible. I think it's even worth doing whenever you don't have Ingenuity of the Humans available. It still does a lot of damage, and just as importantly, it does a lot of hit splats. Just like Bloat, any one of those can trigger a poison hit and give you more damage. And again, just like Bloat, anytime you're going into the Beams mechanic, I would aim to use Soulfire and Bloat, so that even when I'm unable to attack the boss, there's still some strong damage over time happening. Number 4. Soul stacks are a precious commodity at this enrage. The Zorgoth's Ring can give you some more flexibility and allow you to use volley elsewhere in the fight at your discretion, but saving at least 3 stacks to deal with the minions and or the arms is pretty important. The way I'd clear minions most of the time was to use Invoke Death, Threads, Volley, Sap, Volley. And even if that initial volley is a 3 stack volley, that should kill the minions outright more often than not. If you're ever in an unoptimal spot with your soul stacks, you could always do Threads, Sap, Volley, and then a strong third ability like Finger, Bloat, or tier 90 weapon spec. But in those cases, sometimes you may have to use an extra ability or two to clear any stragglers or the bolstering Glaciite who has more HP. Similarly, on the arms, having at least 3 stacks of soul can help you get a faster clear and let you get back to doing what actually matters, damaging the boss in between mechanics. Number 5. My 5th tip is a way to get some extra damage during the cannon special attack. If you're full HP, this works even better and it's not nearly as risky as it looks or sounds. As you're probably used to doing anyway, you should anticipate, Reflect, and Resonance the third hit of the cannon. But here if you add Reprisal beforehand, Vitality Potion, and then drop your prayer all together, those Reflect hits will do about 11,000 damage to Glacier instead of 3k. So you'll get about 30k Reflect damage, plus a 30k from your Reprisal, and you'll still get most of your HP back. If you timed your Vit Pot so that the effect runs out after the second hit of the cannon, you'll actually get back to full HP, so it makes this approach to the cannon even stronger. Number 6, and my final tip, you'll want a Living Death and Split Soul during the flurry mechanic. This is probably your biggest window of time to do damage on Glacier, without being distracted by the mechanics that take you out of the fight, so to speak. At the end of the day, to get this kill time, you're just going to have to play a little more risky than you might normally play when you're pushing. So take advantage of Split Soul and Vengeance as much as possible, even though it takes away from your soul split healing and can be a little bit sketchy sometimes. Split Soul really is one of the strongest tools in your Necromancy toolkit. So those are the tips and principles I wanted to remember when going for this kill. Like I said at the start of the video, just given the nature of the randomized specs, having a set in stone spreadsheet rotation to follow for this speed kill is kind of an unreasonable task. Just to reiterate those tips, you'll want to Soulfire, Bloat, and Tier 95 weapon spec as much as possible. You'll want to try and save 3 or more soul stacks to deal with the minions and the arm special attacks. Use volley sparingly or at your own risk discretion. It's a great ability, but slow minions or arms can be devastating. Try and get some extra damage during the cannon by using Reprisal, Vit Pot, Vengeance, and dropping your prayer all together if possible. And lastly, aim to be using Living Death and Split Soul during the flurry mechanics. Even though this was more of a conceptual video rather than an ability by ability breakdown that I'm becoming known for, let me know if you found it helpful or interesting. I'll let the rest of the kill play out in the background now with some music, but that's really about it for my quote-unquote guide on how I got the Grandmaster speed killing time at Arch-Glacor. If you enjoy high-level PvM content like this, subscribe to my channel, as I'll be making videos like this for every Grandmaster combat achievement in the game. A quick shout out to my newest channel member. We had a couple of members for a little while there, then it went super dead, and now we're so back. So shout out to Kevin, thank you for supporting my channel. I hope you enjoy the emotes, exclusive content, and other perks for becoming a member. Thanks to everyone who watches these videos, take care, and see you next time.